Welcome back. Today we're taking flight across open skies, deep tropical forests, and some of the most breathtaking corners of the natural world to discover a collection of birds so extraordinary they seem almost unreal. Have you ever imagined what it would feel like to witness creatures dressed in dazzling plumage, moving with a grace so mesmerizing it feels almost magical? Then stay with me, because today we're about to explore 10 of the most beautiful birds on Earth, each one carrying its own charm, mystery, and quiet wonder. Part 1. Kalegi Pheasant. Deep within the dense forests of Asia, where sunlight barely filters through the towering canopy, a quiet and mysterious figure moves through the undergrowth. This is the Kalegi pheasant, a bird whose beauty lies not in flamboyance, but in subtlety. Unlike the dramatic splendor of a peacock or the vivid brilliance of tropical parrots, the Kalegi pheasant captivates in a far more restrained way. Its jet-black plumage shimmers with touches of midnight blue, as if shadow and moonlight had been woven together into feathers. Reaching up to around 90 centimeters in length, it moves with surprising grace, but always with caution, carrying the instincts of a creature shaped by generations of survival. By nature, the Kalegi pheasant is a ground-dwelling bird, favoring dense vegetation, where its dark coloring becomes the perfect disguise against danger. It feeds on seeds, fruits, tender leaves, and small insects, quietly searching the forest floor while remaining constantly aware of every sound and movement around it. It is often solitary, alert, and deeply perceptive, never wasting energy on unnecessary display. Perhaps one of its most fascinating traits is its nesting behavior. Rather than building anything elaborate, it creates a simple, shallow hollow on the forest floor, lining it with dry leaves, grass, and soft feathers. The nest blends so naturally into its surroundings that it becomes almost invisible, a hidden cradle of life protected by silence itself. And perhaps that is what makes this bird so compelling. It does not demand attention, yet it stays in the mind. In the wild, the Kalegi pheasant reminds us that silence, instinct, and quiet elegance can be every bit as powerful as the brightest colors in nature. Part 2. Himalayan monal high on the snow-covered slopes of the Himalayas, where the air grows thin and the wind bites with icy force, one of the most astonishing birds in the world appears like a living jewel against the mountain silence. This is the Himalayan monal, a bird so striking that it feels almost unreal, as though nature had poured every shade of the sky and earth into a single creature. As the national bird of Nepal, it is admired not only for its beauty, but for the resilience written into every part of its existence. The male is especially breathtaking, glowing with iridescent green, fiery copper, deep midnight blue, and flashes of gold that shimmer in the light like fragments of a dream. Beside him, the female wears soft earth-tone browns, a quieter beauty that speaks of protection, camouflage, and instinct. Yet the Himalayan monal is far more than a beautiful bird. It lives at altitudes above 3,000 meters, in a world of freezing temperatures and harsh terrain, and it survives there with remarkable strength. Its powerful legs help it climb and move across steep mountain slopes, while its body is built to endure the bitter cold. At dawn, these birds forage across the ground, scratching through the soil in search of roots, tubers, and insects. But perhaps their most captivating moment comes during the breeding season, when the male begins an elaborate courtship display. He spreads his wings, fans his tail, and turns in bursts of radiant color beneath the mountain sun, like an ancient performance repeated across generations. Their nest remains simple, hidden in shallow hollows beneath brush or rocky shelter, where the female guards her young against a world that shows no mercy. And that is what makes the Himalayan monal so unforgettable. It is proof that beauty forged in hardship carries a strength all its own, radiant and untamed, like the spirit of the Himalayas themselves. Part 1. Frunithruanium, or blue and yellow macaw. Amid the vibrant rainforests of South America, where color and sound blend into a world that feels endlessly alive, the blue and yellow macaw soars like a living emblem of the tropics. Few birds are as instantly recognizable as this magnificent parrot. With a body stretching close to a meter from beak to tail, and a wingspan that can reach around 1.2 meters, it commands attention the moment it appears. Its brilliant blue wings, golden chest, and green-tinted crown look as though they were painted by the jungle itself, a perfect reflection of the richness surrounding it. But its beauty is only the beginning of its story. The blue and yellow macaw is also celebrated for its intelligence and deep sense of loyalty. These birds often mate for life, forming bonds so strong that their calls ring through the forest canopy each morning like a daily promise between companions. Their diet consists of fruits, seeds, and hard-shelled nuts, all easily cracked by their powerful beaks. When it comes to nesting, they choose hollow trees high above the forest floor, sometimes as much as 30 meters up, hidden within ancient trunks that serve as natural fortresses. There is something extraordinary about a creature that combines such vivid beauty with wisdom, strength, and devotion. The blue and yellow macaw is more than a colorful bird of the rainforest. It is a radiant reminder that in nature, brilliance is often matched by intelligence and beauty by enduring connection. Part 4. Silver Pheasant. Hidden within the lush tropical and subtropical forests of Southeast Asia, the silver pheasant appears like a figure of quiet nobility moving through the shadows. There is something undeniably refined about this bird. With its immaculate white plumage marked by sharp black patterns, vivid crimson face, and piercing eyes, it carries itself with a sense of elegance that feels almost regal. The male in particular is especially striking, both in color and in posture, and can reach an impressive length of up to about 1.2 meters. Yet despite such a remarkable appearance, the silver pheasant does not live a life of display. Instead, it remains close to the dense understory of the forest, where each careful movement is hidden beneath layers of foliage. By nature, it is omnivorous, foraging across the forest floor with strong legs as it searches for seeds, fruits, insects, and small creatures. What makes this bird even more fascinating is the simplicity of its nesting behavior. Rather than constructing anything elaborate, it creates a shallow hollow in the ground, lightly lined with twigs and fallen leaves, so perfectly camouflaged that it blends almost completely into the forest floor. In that quiet minimalism, there is a kind of wisdom. The silver pheasant does not rely on noise or spectacle to leave an impression. It captures attention through grace, restraint, and a quiet dignity that lingers long after it has disappeared back into the trees. Sometimes true nobility reveals itself in the simplest form. Part 5. Temminck's Tragopan. Like a creature drawn from myth, Temminck's Tragopan appears among the misty slopes of the Himalayas, where crisp mountain air and towering trees create a world that feels both ancient and untouched. Though only medium in size, the male is utterly unforgettable. His plumage glows in radiant shades of orange-red, scattered with white spots, while beneath his throat lies one of his most extraordinary features, a brilliant blue inflatable wattle that emerges during the breeding season. In those moments, he becomes far more than a bird. He becomes a performer, turning the quiet forest into a stage for one of nature's most remarkable displays. During courtship, the male spreads his wings, bows low, and reveals the shimmering blue patch at his throat like a hidden jewel suddenly brought into the light. It is a display of beauty and instinct, delicate yet dramatic, unfolding silently in the highland forest. In contrast, the female wears earthy browns and grays, colors chosen not for attention, but for protection. Her modest appearance allows her to blend into the forest far more easily as she prepares to guard the next generation. One of the most fascinating details about this bird is its nesting behavior. Rather than always building from scratch, the female often reuses abandoned nests high in the trees, conserving energy while giving her eggs a safer place to rest. Each nest usually holds only 2 to 5 eggs, and within just days of hatching, the chicks leave the nest to reduce the risk of predation. Temminck's Tragopan embodies a beautiful balance between brilliance and caution, spectacle and survival, proving once again that in nature, beauty is often inseparable from instinct. Part 6. Northern Cardinal radiant against the gardens, woodlands, and winter landscapes of North America. The northern cardinal is one of those birds that seems impossible to overlook. With its striking red plumage and elegant crest, it stands out vividly, especially when snow and bare branches turn the world around it pale and quiet. Medium-sized and measuring around 21 to 23 centimeters in length, With a wingspan of roughly 25 to 31 centimeters, the northern cardinal is admired not only for its beauty, but for the resilience it shows in colder conditions. It brings a vivid spark of life to places that might otherwise seem still and colorless. This bird is highly adaptable, living in forests, thickets, wetlands, and even residential areas. Its diet mainly includes seeds, fruits, and insects, all easily crushed by its strong beak. During winter, it can often be seen foraging on the ground, searching through dry leaves or snow for anything it can eat. There is something quietly powerful in that image, a creature so bright and elegant, yet so determined and practical in the way it survives. Its nest is equally impressive in its own understated way. Built in dense shrubs or on low branches, it takes the shape of a sturdy cup made from small twigs, leaves, and grass, usually around 10 to 15 centimeters across. The inside is lined with softer materials such as feathers and fine grass, and it is mainly crafted by the female. Altogether, the northern cardinal is more than a beautiful bird of the cold season. It is a reminder that grace and endurance often exist side by side, even in the harshest landscapes. Part 7. European Starling. Amid the bustle of European streets or above the quiet fields of the countryside at dusk, there lives a small bird capable of turning the entire sky into a spectacle. This is the European starling, a bird that proves beauty does not always arrive in bright, obvious colors. At first glance, its plumage seems dark, almost plain, but under sunlight it shimmers with iridescent shades of green and purple, revealing a brilliance that feels almost hidden in plain sight. Though only about 20 centimeters long, the European starling has an impact far greater than its size would suggest. What truly sets this bird apart is the astonishing display it creates during migration season. Thousands of starlings gather and move together in the sky in flowing formations known as murmurations, swirling and shifting with such perfect synchrony that the movement resembles silk being pulled across the evening light. Have you ever seen a sky that seemed to breathe as one living shape? That is the kind of wonder this bird can create. Yet beyond that spectacle, the European starling is also a master of survival. It thrives in both urban and rural environments, feeding on insects, fruits, and even scraps left behind by humans. Its nests are built in tree hollows, cracks in walls, or even house vents lined carefully with dry grass, paper, and leaves. Intelligent, adaptable, and strangely artistic, the European starling becomes more than just a bird in flight. It becomes a symbol of harmony, motion, and the quiet poetry that can emerge when many lives move together as one. Part 8. Atlantic Puffin. Amid the misty cliffs and icy winds of the North Atlantic, the Atlantic puffin appears like a small figure from a seaside fairy tale. With its striking black and white plumage, bright orange triangular bill, and dark eye markings that seem almost delicately painted on, it carries a charm that is both elegant and endearingly unusual. Though modest in size at around 30 centimeters long, the puffin leaves a far greater impression than its small frame might suggest, yet its appeal lies in more than appearance alone. What makes this bird truly unforgettable is the quiet devotion woven into the way it lives. Atlantic puffins are remarkably loyal. Each breeding season, they return to the very same burrow on the cliffside where they were born, reuniting with the same mate to build a nest, lay a single egg, and raise their chick together. Year after year, that rhythm continues with touching consistency. Most of their lives are spent far out at sea, where they dive to depths of around 60 meters in search of fish, using their wings like flippers beneath the water. But when they return to land, carrying small fish in those colorful bills and waddling back towards the hidden nest, they reveal a tenderness that is impossible not to admire. The Atlantic puffin may not dazzle like the brightest tropical birds, but its beauty lies somewhere deeper, in loyalty, quiet resilience, in the gentle strength of family life. In one of the harshest corners of the natural world, it shines through the simplest truths of all. Part 9. Roseate Spoonbill. As dawn washes the wetlands of South America in soft shades of pink and gold, a striking figure glides quietly across the still water. This is the roseate spoonbill, a bird that seems to carry the colors of sunrise within its own feathers. With soft pink and white plumage, a pale yellow neck, and its unmistakable spoon-shaped bill, it stands out at once, yet never in a way that feels harsh or excessive. Its beauty is unusual, graceful, and slightly eccentric, as though nature chose to create something elegant by following its own rules rather than anyone else's. The Roseate's spoonbill does not impress through flashy display or dazzling movement. Instead, its charm lies in the quiet strangeness of its shape and behavior. Using its flat, spoon-like bill, it sweeps from side to side through shallow water, sensing and catching shrimp, fish, and insects in a feeding motion that feels almost like a slow, rhythmic dance. These birds thrive in flocks, foraging together and nesting among dense shrubs in flooded areas that are difficult to reach, hidden places full of stillness and life. There, in simple stick nests, downy chicks are raised beneath the shelter of patient care. The roseate spoonbill is a reminder that beauty does not always call for attention. Sometimes it moves gently, almost silently through color, form, and the quiet mastery of survival in a world that never stops changing. Part 10. Mangrove Pitta. Amid the tangled roots and muddy stillness of Southeast Asia's coastal mangroves, the mangrove pitta appears like a sudden burst of color in a world of shadow and silence. With its vibrant orange breast, emerald green back, black and white striped head, and vivid blue belly, this small bird looks almost unreal, as if a painting had somehow slipped into the wild. Bold in color yet elusive in nature, it stands as one of the most captivating hidden treasures of the mangrove world. At only about 20 centimeters in length, it is not a large bird, but it carries a presence far greater than its size might suggest. The mangrove pitta is rarely seen easily. Quiet and reserved, it is often noticed first by its distinctive call, echoing softly through the maze of roots and branches like a distant whisper. It feeds on insects, earthworms, and small crabs, striking with sudden precision after long moments of still observation. Its nest is built low to the ground, tucked carefully within shrubs or among low-hanging branches, hidden away in a habitat many people overlook. And perhaps that is exactly what makes this bird so memorable. It belongs to a world that remains unseen unless someone is willing to slow down and pay attention. The mangrove pitta is a symbol of quiet resilience at the meeting point between land and sea. Radiant without arrogance, beautiful without display, and revealed only to those patient enough to look and listen. From the shadowed forests of Asia to the frozen cliffs of the North Atlantic, these birds reveal that beauty in nature takes many forms. Sometimes it appears in dazzling color, sometimes in quiet elegance, sometimes in loyalty, resilience, or the hidden grace of survival itself. Each of these 10 birds offers something different, yet all of them remind us that the natural world is filled with wonders, far beyond what we notice at first glance. So which of these extraordinary birds amazed you the most? Let me know, and if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next exploration into the most remarkable wonders our world has to offer.